Hi there, I'm Jeannie Rainey. Thanks for joining me today for my Focus Friday, where our focus is on Grassy Grove, the Grassy Grove bundle. It comes with quite a lot of dies and stamps. So let's get started. I've already die cut some of my foliage. I'm going to go ahead and die cut my deer. The background, I'm going to just use a portion of it for this card, and we're backing it with a designer series paper. Now you can choose any designer series papers for your background. I'm going to heat emboss with white for my sentiment. Thank you. And the paper color that I'm using, the cardstock, is the succulent, soft succulent green. This foliage was used, I used the 21-23 Shimmer Vellum, the green. Just gonna adhere it to the back of my sentiment. And using dimensionals on this fun background. Trying to position the dimensionals where they're not going to be seen through. But this is so neat. It makes it look like you're looking into the woods. And I can use the portion that I cut off for another card. It makes it a 2-for-1. Just going to line it up to the right edge, then using liquid adhesive to adhere my deer. I want him to be behind the trees, looking like he's looking out of the woods. Then when you're using the designer series paper as your background paper, it's a good idea to use the tear and tape. It's a strong tape, plus it's flat. By using the liquid adhesive on designer paper, sometimes if you get too much, it causes the paper to bubble a little bit. So I really encourage you to use the tear and tape on your designer papers. Also, it helps you be able to position your layer perfectly. You're able to pull it up if it's not exactly straight. And then just pull the tabs, and there you go. That's my first card. I'm going to embellish with the brushed brass butterflies. And there you have it. Again, that's the vellum. Now the next card, we're using the In Colors again, and the designer papers, and a watercolor paper. So first I'm saturating my paper with water, and then this is Balmy Blue. I'm going to go ahead and create my sky. And then we'll set that aside to dry. Meanwhile, we'll stamp our sentiment with the Misty Moonlight ink. Sometimes you need to know that someone really cares. And then wrapping a twine around the left edge, and I'll tie a bow. Then I'll banner cut the right side. Then we set that aside to dry. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and stamp. Now choose 3 different greens. I'm using Garden Green, Mossy Meadow, and Old Olive. This first one is the Garden Green. And then this next set of trees is the Old Olive. Trying to position them so that I can die cut them out. This one is Mossy Meadow. Grab my dies and be right back. Okay, now I'll set those aside. And my watercolor paper is dry, so we'll go ahead and start trimming these pieces using the back of my watercolor paper as my guide. Kind of positioning things where I want them to see where to trim. Then I can start layering. I'm going to use liquid adhesive for the trees that are going to be attached right to my card front. And then I'm going to start layering with Stampin' Dimensionals. So the first layer, we just use one layer of dimensionals. The second one is going to need 2 layers of dimensionals. Again, these trees will need the second layer of dimensionals and then liquid adhesive for the trunks of the trees. There we have so much dimension. Now I'm using the liquid adhesive on this watercolor paper because it has texture to it and I really want it to adhere well. Again, making my tabs so that I can perfectly position onto my card base. Then I'll be using a dimensional just on the left side of the sentiment. And then liquid adhesive on the right side. Because it's already got a layer of paper, the watercolor paper makes it a little thicker. So there we have our second card. And here you go. Here's your chance to take a screenshot or jot down the notes of what supplies were used for this card. Thanks for joining me today, again, for the Grassy Grove bundle, which has dies. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Thank you.